like a Hellcat. Like a Hellcat. Coming like a hell. Like a Hellcat.
Hello, guys. Welcome to the Asia Cup brought to you by Lidoma India. This is me, Insane, and I have alongside with me casting the Nepal qualifiers, none other than Raider.
Well, I'm glad to be here, and thanks for that warm welcome, Insane. We are going to witness the kind of carnage, the kind of booyahs that we all expect from Nepali teams. We have 12 amazing teams from Nepal region. Let's see how the Nepali qualifiers are going to be there. This is day number one. 6 matches are going to be there, and that too back to back as we have the schedule. First match, if I'm not wrong, is going to start off in Bermuda. After that, we'll be having Purgatory, then Kalahari. Same again, the cycle will repeat.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. The cycle is going to repeat itself. And at the same time, let me bring a couple of team names to your kind notice, Raider.
Sure, man.
One team we always have to look out for V-Bros. Whenever V-Bros are in the lobby, they absolutely obliterate the entire lobby. We've got Sripach as well. We've got so many teams from the Nepal region. And actually, all these teams are not just simply teams. These are the giant, these are the titans from the Nepali region who are definitely going to make a huge mark when all the teams from other nations also come together to fight the battle. And I'm expecting, I've got huge hopes from the team from the Nepali region.
Lot to learn, lot to think about. That's what is
Yes.
actually going to happen. We have actually witnessed Indian qualifiers and the Pakistani qualifiers as well. We have seen the kind of consistency and some passive gameplays and some aggressive gameplays also. But right now, this is going to be another beautiful day of teams coming from Nepal, and they are going to showcase their own kind of strategies. We'll be seeing it very soon how they are going to go for the Boya. Is it going to be an aggressive approach, or we are going to witness the strategies coming up very soon? These things are actually going to be crystal clear. So let's expect a huge amount of fights, I believe, and a huge amount of chaos is going to be there. And as you were talking about some teams who have the big names, some teams who are the big giants, let's see how their performance is going to be on. But at this moment, if we talk about particular teams, we have got Power ESP in front of us. That is Team TW. Let's see how their performance will be calibrated. Right now, every single team is empty-handed. They don't have any kind of frags. We have 43 members surviving. Let's see how the fights will be calibrated.
All right, all right. We have a couple of players. Superman. This guy,
Mhm.
this guy, this guy is an absolute beast. With the gun, with the teams, he absolutely dominates the lobby. Whenever I have seen, I got the pleasure and I was so lucky to cast FFNCs as well. And all these guys, especially Superman, his name says it all. The name says Superman, and he indeed is a Superman. Right now, Neon Jordex, they are into the blue zone, and I believe there must be some other squad as well. But right now, as far as I'm concerned, the drop clash should have happened. But since there's no shots, we cannot spot any sort of guy right in front of them. But here we go. The fight has started. Levi. Levi has spotted a guy hiding behind the glue wall, but I'm not really sure the glue wall is going to sustain all the damage. And yes, there we go. Grenade was being popped up, and the very first frag in the lobby yet to get confirmed, but it will get confirmed eventually.
Yeah, indeed, the frags are coming up. Eventually, some confirmations are actually going to be there. But right now, the other thing that you have to actually work on is going to be the consistency. It's not like that you have actually attained one amazing kill into your perspective, and after that, you are getting shattered from the enemy's corner. You have to survive. You have to be persistent in kind of your, let's say, gameplay. Legend God, MLs, Zero Fear, Arjun, and Pikachu. These are the four members which are still surviving for this particular team. They have attained one amazing kill into their perspective, but right now they are hunting for more. They are scavenging for more. They are just hungry because the blood has been tasted by this particular team. But let's see how the shots are going to be there, because in the shipyard there might be some more fights coming up soon enough, and we also have that revenge, that recall area. So of course teams might be coming up over there as well.
I think there's a bit of change that I can see. Moonlight, here's the squad of Moonlight. I was expecting the other squad to be from the team Moonlight, but this the fourth guy is playing in the other team, so I can clearly see, we can clearly spot a little bit of changes in the roster.
Hmm.
Changes are dynamic, changes are really necessary for every team to build their way up to the glory. But right now, NFC, this particular team right now is in a bit of trouble. Yakuza and Srijan, two guys are only standing. And as far as even the last guy is standing, you still have a little bit of hope. However small the hope is always a good thing for you. You always have to be positive, even if the ropes are down,
Right.
even if the chips are down. You have to keep on building and you have to keep on pushing forward. And as they say, you must have heard about this particular saying: whenever you fall down, you try to always land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. That is what the scenario over here, because this Asia Cup battle is actually a grand stage for these teams to not simply be the best in in their own country, but to
Mhm.
be the best in the Asia.
Definitely. See, eventually, if I talk about this Asia Cup as well, as you all can see, we have got 6 matches back and forth in this particular day. We have got 6 booyahs to conquer. Even though if you are unable to get the first one, you might be able to get the second one. And if you fail to do so, the third one is there, the fourth one is there, fifth one is there, and so on. The sixth one is actually going to be there, and many more days are actually going to be there in terms of the qualifier. Yes, of course, you have to be worried about the standings in terms of the leaderboard, but even though if you are unable to stand in the first day, you might be able to come back in the second one. Yes, of course, the pressure is going to increase quite a bit, but still, I guess we have a ray of hope of getting some booyahs, getting some good points, and climbing in the leaderboard. That is something you have to actually watch out for. But right now, we have got 38 players, and a lot of shots are coming up for sure. If I talk about this particular team, look at that. Neon Jordex is constantly trying to patch himself. 2 amazing kills from his perspective. Fueko, if I'm not wrong, has actually got 1 amazing kill, but Sundari, that guy has to get that revival.
Alright, Mamba Fugo, if you talk about Fugo, he's a sort of player who has a pretty good experience in playing the Indian server as well. So technically, I would say he's got the best of both worlds. From Nepali region, team V Bros, we can clearly spot. But right now, OPX, the very first squad, I believe, to get the elimination, this is a bad state. They are in a bad state. While we talk about the team that has already been eliminated so far, Jangi is a great guy. Obito, when I talk about Obito, Shetri, I've seen all these guys play their absolute best game, but clearly in this particular game, this is still the start. Not to they're not heading to a good start, but eventually they'll fall back into play. This is what I believe from this particular team. But right now we can see Mylene, Charlie, Shibo, and Maddox. 4 guys with 3 frags. It's a comfortable start, I would say.
Yeah, indeed, 3 amazing kills into the perspective. Their motivation has been boosted up, and right now they know that they can more than dominate the stage of Nepali qualifiers doing number one. But let's see how this whole domination type of aspect is actually going to be there. Because for the moment, as well can see, teams are more than focused on looting as well. They are actually looting the right kind of utility, first tickets, and the other things are actually going to be there quite crucial for them.
All right, these 3 guys. You can see these 4 guys. They are, I believe. See, Raiders, there always is one particular meta, one particular strategy where the guys, when they have a good start, they start very good. They eventually move towards finishing. Technically, they try to sit there calmly and wait for the broken teams to come there for the revival of their teammates, and bam, they take their frags, they take a couple more frags, and this is quite a good strategy. But right now, Deepu bot gets down. He gets down. A little bit of time is still there for him to get eliminated. But the other guys, Levi, Aizen, and Superman, all the 3 guys are fighting back. They want to bring down the other players. They want to bring up Deepu bot. But let's see. And there we go. Revival was possible, and now it is going to take place. But still, there's a little bit of tug of war that is happening. Superman is still trying to fight back, and there we go. 5 frags in the pocket. Comfortably, Deepu bot gets revived, and they are going to move forward comfortably and come.
Indeed, indeed. Right now, their stand is actually looking quite fathomable. On the other corner, if I talk about this particular team, they're looking strong enough. Now they have to move in and eventually capitalize the zone as well. But let's see how the whole situation will be carried away. Before that, they have to pass themselves, get ready, and eventually boost themselves as well so that they can eventually take up a fight whenever they want to go into the zone. Because a lot of teams are going to be there to just gatekeep them. Because once you shoot 1 or 2 bullets, you are becoming the center of attraction. But on the other corner, some knockouts as well are coming up. You can already see quite a few knockouts are coming up, and this is Nepali Qualifiers Day number 1, match number 1. The map is Bermuda, as you all know, a beautiful map to start with. But then again, the carnage never sets down. On the other corner, look at the shots coming up. 47 damage has already been inflicted. Superman on the other corner from Team Moonlight is just trying to decipher what is happening and how the shots are getting connected. On the other corner, Dona manages to put one down with a beautiful headshot.
Currently, the situation is that you have to move, groove, and disapprove what the other guys do to you. The enemies, they're always going to be there. The enemies, they're always going to come up short. Sometimes they might close in and seal the deal over you, but sometimes you fight back. But right now, there we go, the champions of the lobby, V Bros. Every single team in the lobby, every single guy in the lobby, they know what it takes to take down V Bros. If you have managed to simply take the glory away from the V Bros, the job is half done. Because V Bros is currently in their very best form. They are in their prime right now, and V Bros is probably one of the very few teams in the Nepali region who's got the experience of both worlds. They've been playing so many tournaments in the Indian region. Absolute beauty whenever I see them go. And when it takes to the maps, they have
Mhm.
a great read at the maps. They are quite confident with all the terrains, every single cover they are pretty well aware of. Because it's, see, to be the best, you've got the number one thing that you need to do is practice until you succeed. You keep on practicing, and the effort should never stop, and that is what we pros like to do.
Definitely to be consistent, you have to prove yourself. Be it the Indian region or the Nepali region, you have to actually prove your worth in the kind of leaderboard. That's what is actually happening. But before that, let's talk about a chaos coming up. Let's talk about a fight coming up. This is BG Darshan is there, DDR is there. If I'm not wrong, the whole team is about to go down, or is it that the team has been eliminated? I don't know right now. But on the other corner, if we talk about BM, Robbie is actually getting connected. On the other corner, if we talk about Vikas, he is surviving. And if we talk about Abidal, he is also surviving from Team B4M's corner. They are definitely surviving, but definitely trying to attack the enemy so that they can be a little bit more close to the Booyah, because that is something which is going to be the end game.
Yes, indeed. The end game should always be getting that booyah, getting your hands at the booyah and securing those 12 points. Yesterday, we got to see the Indian Giants fighting it out, and then we got to see the Pakistani teams as well. Both the regions played out everything pretty well. Yes, I was a bit confused by the end of the day, by the end of the session where Pakistani teams played. I was a bit confused regarding the common strategy that was being used by the teams, and I could not, as a caster, it was a little bit hard for me to anticipate the moves they were making, to anticipate the strategies that were being implied, that were being applied and executed. But towards the end, I could only see that Forever Esports, it stood on top, it went on the top, and it stood there. That's the best thing. And right now,
Right.
let's see. This is still the first match, and I believe it is quite an understatement to say, if I say that Nepali regions are going to play a simple game.
Well, I guess the simple game is actually going to get cut shorted really very soon, because the zone is actually getting shrink and you are about to see the carnage, because we have 27 players surviving. That's interesting. We are going to witness quite a few shots coming up, and really very soon the safe zone is also getting shrunken down. If we talk about this particular team, Charlie is there, we've got Shibo, we've got Maddox, and Mylene is also there in the lineup fire. 26 players are surviving right now, but the showdown is still just about to begin, because let's call out the Booyah. The first Booyah of this whole situation, or should I say Nepali qualifiers, is about to happen really very soon. In just few minutes, we are going to witness that which is the team who is easily going to, let's say, give the grand opening for Nepali qualifiers. We'll be seeing it very very soon, because the first match, well, it's about to come to an end. But before that, we have got Abiral managing and dominating on the enemies.
So we are currently eyeing at the team Bisho Magar. Bisho Magar is a good team, and here we go. FDE, Freaky Dimension is the name, and clearly the team is playing the game pretty well. And the best part about this particular team is that they are not always, greedy about frags. Yes, frags are important, but at the same time, what's more important is that you get a hold of your entire team. You stick together, not very close. Yes, we got to see a couple of instances yesterday when sticking too close to the teammates was proven to be a little lethal. But right now, Bisho Magar, BM, Rob gets down, Krish gets down, Vikas and Joshal, two guys still surviving, two guys still fighting. Let's see, Vikas has taken one guy down, last man standing. He should heal himself, but he does not have the opportunity. Not everybody gets a chance to heal themselves during the fight, and there you go.
It's a privilege, I guess. It's a privilege to heal yourself and eventually be back in the fight, which is actually getting denied from quite a few corners. But right now, if we talk about this particular team, well, we have quite a few dominating type of stance coming from the corner. Let's see how these teams are going to close in. On the other corner, Tamang manages to put one down. If we talk about this particular team, let's see how the performance will be calibrated. M1917 has been used up. Push manages to just push forward. He's trying his level best to be on the edges of the particular play zone so that they can actually survive, and no backstabbing type of momentum will be coming up. There is not going to be a possibility that somebody is going to sneak up from behind. So that is the possibility that they are just trying to crossfire. And along with that, shots are coming up, no doubt on that. B4M, if I talk about Chetri, well, he is also trying his level best to attain some good points. Well, there we go. The enemy is way too close. Some nades have been thrown, some flashes have been thrown, but is it going to be enough to put him down? That's a definite enough question we want to get an answer for.
All right, we will raise our questions, and eventually, these guys are going to give all the answer to us, and for the public as well. I hope all the entire public. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for being the part of this particular tournament because it is indeed a huge opportunity, not just for the players, for us as well, for the
Right.
viewers. Because not every time, how often do you get to see the top titans from every single region battle it out together to get the glory? But right now, Chetri, last man standing, he is trying to fight back. There's a guy right in front of him, and with the glue ball, he escapes, he saves himself. But Charlie, in the meantime, the circle is very small. We are down to 9 men. FDE, freaky dimensions. Clearly, they are freaking the other guys out. They are indeed trying to freak the heck out of the other guys in the lobby and left, right, center. They are securing
Yeah.
frags with themselves.
Definitely, they are
Triple
securing some good frags. They are definitely trying their level best to dominate on the enemies. And at this moment, if we talk about the number of people which are surviving, that's going to be only 7. So definitely, it's going to be quite chaotic. Charge Buster has been summoned, Woodpecker has been summoned. Let's see how they're going to put the damage into the consideration, or is it going to be a possibility that some other team is going to incline? Well, look at those shots coming up. That was a huge amount of damage coming up. Booyah is way too close for this particular team, but right now, even a single mistake can actually turn the tides for them.
Actually, every single guy in the lobby was trying to turn the tides in their favor against the teammates, against the opponent. But there you go, freaky dimension with the very first booyah in the opening match of Asia Cup Nepal qualifiers. Day one, first match, freaky dimension. They've shown all the dimensions. I'm yet to see. We are yet to witness the fitness of these guys, and we're yet to see all the other dimensions of freaky dimensions. Yesterday, in the Pakistan qualifiers, we got to see Yoto Killers. The very first match, they secured their booyah, but eventually they could not continue their consistency. They could not play the same game in rest of the 5 matches. I don't want to jinx the performance by this particular team, but I have high hopes from the team Freaky Killers.
Team is actually going to dominate in the next upcoming 5 matches as well. But then again, there is a possibility, there is a speculation that the other remaining 11 teams are also going to catch up to them slowly but steadily. Because if you don't evolve with a particular game style, your game style is going to be predictable, and the other teams are going to catch up to you. Their IGLs are going to work up to it and eventually manage to put you down, dethrone you. That's what happened to Utah Killers. That is actually what is happening to every single team right now. If let's say one team is dominating in a particular fight, they are getting uncertain knockouts coming from another direction because they're getting predictable. Your shots are actually giving up your position, and then again, these teams are just declining to get that booyah. But right now, let's see how the booyah is going to be there in the next one. That is going to be Purgatory, the map of three islands to be precise. It is going to be a beautiful island, and once again, Insane, I hope that you're thinking for those bridges zone.
Yes.
I knew
See,
it.
yeah. I'm really sorry, guys, but this is what I always think about whenever it comes to Purgatory. Whenever we talk about the map Purgatory, all what comes in my mind, the very first thought is to have a last circle, is to have it, if not exactly the last, but second last, third last circles,
Hmm.
where we see a little bit of all the 3 islands, and center we have water. Yes, the bridge side, when the guys get to the bridge side, it is actually very important for them because they get a better angle over a better view over all the other teams. But I am really obsessed with that sort of a circle, and throughout my entire career of Free Fire Max casting, I've barely got to see that particular circle, I would say 3 or 4 times. And trust me, I have casted more than somewhere around more than 1000 matches, and I barely got to see that particular circle in around 5 matches. So now you can understand how hard it is for me to actually not witness that circle. But nevertheless, it is indeed going to be a tricky one for all the players that are in the lobby. But right now, all eyes on the team Freaky Dimensions.
Well, definitely it's going to be quite chaotic to watch that kind of rich locations coming up. But let's see how that team, who actually got first ever booyah from Nepali qualifiers day number 1, is actually going to come back with another booyah or not. Because yesterday we saw 2 of those amazing teams which were coming back and forth with 2 good booyahs. They were repeating their kind of legacy, be it Team Forever or be it Emoji Elites from Indian qualifiers as well. But right now, I believe the definition of these particular fights are going to change very swiftly because the people are catching up to it. And I believe somewhere, if these players are more than, let's say, serious about this whole tournament, I think they must have been watching the Indian qualifiers and the Pakistani qualifiers as well, so that they can actually learn and decipher that how the enemy is fighting.
Hmm. See, deciphering the moves and the strategies of the other players is going to play a vital role in your win.
Exactly.
You always have to think one step ahead of all the other players in the lobby, and that is how you win the battle. That is how you get an edge over all the other opponents. Right now,
Right.
OPX, Shetri, Jangi, Obito, in the first game they could not have a good start. They got eliminated in the early quarters, but this is a new match. This is match number 2. Beer is down, but the guys are looking confident. I'm really hoping that Beer is going to be back in no
Oh
time. But
man.
right now, okay. BG, what has happened to this particular team? I'm really doubtful how far along they can go from this particular situation.
Definitely, because DDR is the only guy which is still surviving. He has to go over, collect the tokens, and eventually get his mates back in the fight. But definitely, it's going to be quite chaotic for him to go for that because a lot of teams try to gatekeep that perspective. So let's see how this whole situation goes on. This guy has, let's say, a decent amount of loot into his perspective, but right now, more than the loots, it is actually going to be a situation where he wants his teammates back in the game because it is way too early to get diminished like this. 43 players are still surviving in this lobby, and eventually these giants are going to slay each other very soon, and we will be seeing the second Booyah of the day. But I guess we are witnessing Parafel coming up with some good shots. They are coming up, and a beautiful knockout was there from Setri's corner. But right now, he is also going to fall back because he knows if he actually tries to delegate, if he actually tries to push forward, it could be the end of his team.
At least Bear tried to bring back Shetri. I was hoping he could bring back other guys as well, but now shots are being taken at Shetri. He's in a bad spot. He is in a bad state, and there you go. He gets eliminated. OPX gets eliminated. It's a bad state. They are actually in a very bad state. But right now, the last game winners, GB as well. We can see GB, Rohan, Uchesh, Bipin, Bantawa. All the 4 guys, they are climbing uphill from the Forge region, and has he spotted? Yes, there's a guy right in front of him. He's taking shots at him, but unfortunately, he could not connect any single shot. Could not give damage to the other guy. See, at this sort of a situation, you always look out for one breakthrough. If you manage to take down one guy, you can. I have seen this couple of times. You must have also seen this particular move so many times that you always look out for one breakthrough. If you get the breakthrough, which GB has, they have managed to get that breakthrough right now. I'm not really sure whether they are going to go for the entire rush or not, but clearly that should be the case. This is a common thing that we have witnessed in all sorts of games, all sorts of paths, all sorts of tournaments.
Yeah, indeed, getting the breakthrough is something which is going to be quite vital for us to watch out eventually, and vital for these particular teams to fight through. Because whenever you are in a squad fight, if you are in a 4v4 fight, eventually if you get the breakthrough, if you get the first knockout, I guess you have a buffer where you can actually become the fluid and eventually fill the void. So that could be the call out. But right now, if we talk about Team GB, well, they are attaining some good points into their perspective. That's interesting. 3 amazing kills is already there from their particular kind of consistent performance. But now, if we talk about some more teams like NFC, well, this team is losing some breaths because Vishal and Yakuza, these 2 guys are actually out of equation. Boya is something which is going to be literally difficult for them, but getting some good loots from the vending machine is going to be another call out coming from the corner. And guys, make sure to support us, make sure to actually share the stream as well, because Lidoma India with the Asia Cup is actually bringing a huge stage for these teams, and you guys as well to just showcase your talent and eventually learn from these giants at how you have to perform in a bigger stage and how you can be one of those big giants.
All right. All these big giants, NFC Yakuza, Manis, Bishal, and Sanam. These guys are holding. These guys do not want to give away the position. I think it's kind of a passive strategy that is being applied here. And Raider, I personally think, no offense to any other team, I personally think if you try to go passive in the initial quarters of the tournament, initial games of the tournament, I think you somewhere pave down a path for your team to be passive throughout the tournament. Because see, aggression doesn't always come like that.
Yeah.
It has to be in your gameplay. Your gameplay should have a little bit of moderation with the passiveness and aggression. But clearly, what I can witness right now is that this particular team is being very patient, very calm. Being patient and being calm is good, but there you always need a little bit of aggression in your gameplay so that when the fight knocks at your door, you open it with open arms, and then you take down the other guys.
See, the main part is that an aggressive team can be passive, but if a passive team is actually, let's say, if I'm talking about one of those extremes which are actually just trying to be passive and eventually their game style is passive, they won't be able to defend themselves quite well, because whenever an aggressive team comes in or a push by the particular play zone is actually coming up, you won't be able to defend yourself because your game style is passive. You are just going to hide or eventually play a little bit more safe at that moment. You are going to bait out that particular team, but that definitely will not be able to support you in a number of matches. Yes, of course, there are going to be some exceptions where you are actually going to be defensive and still getting some good blows and getting the booyah. Well, that is amazing. But then again, if you are aggressive and you know how to actually evolve altogether through the game, you know how to manage your kind of aggression, and eventually when the lobby demands some kind of new strategies, you are able to get through with that. You are the one of those teams which is easily going to cut through the competition and eventually become the Asia Cup champion. So that is something these teams have to be watching out for. But right now, if we talk about more and more teams, well, look at that. Mwamba Fuego, Neon Jonix, Rejan, Sundari, these are the 3-4 members which are still surviving. They are empty handed for the moment, more than focused on the loots and eventually just trying to be a little bit more passive at the moment.
Exactly. R8 Rejan, Neon Zodex. I'm yet to see a couple of frags from the guns of Neon Zodex because he's a good guy. RB Rejan, he's a greater guy indeed. But Sundar and Fugo, these guys, they have spotted a guy. They're trying to take shots at the guy. Let's see whether conversion is possible. Yes, I believe the conversion is possible because all the guys from this particular team are all together, sticking together, having each other's back. But this guy, who's the other guy? I'm yet to see. Yet to see. But Neon Zodex is down. This is quite a surprise. And he is in the 25 meters area. I think that is quite a coverable area. These guys should give a little bit of cover. But there we go. This is the team none other than V-Bros. V-Bros, whenever you are up against the team V-Bros,
Wow.
it is always going to be a tough situation.
Oh, indeed. It is actually going to be quite tough, but then again, V-Bros have to be vigilant enough so that they don't actually come up with a loss. You can also see Drago and Soccer. These are the two members which have been taken down right now. Poison and Krishu, they are definitely trying to defend, but Poison gets taken down. Now, Krishu is the last man standing. He can easily fall back or he can just get down to the dust restfully. Let's see what is actually going to happen. But for the moment, if I talk about this particular guy, he's just trying to avoid all the chaos. He's trying to be much more vigilant. He's just trying to bait out the enemy, and this can be very, very difficult for him. He can easily just fall out from the situation, and if he does that, I think he might be able to just, let's say, get that revival coming up in the game. But if we talk about Team V-Bros, this is something the fans would not have been expecting at this moment, because V-Bros is currently getting decimated. The only guy which is still surviving is also on the verge of getting decimated. If he gets pounded out, I don't think he will be able to take that 1v4 at this moment.
He'll definitely try. He'll try to take even. It is all the situation of the hour. It is all the need of the hour. Whenever the situation is tough, the tough gets going. Sundar, Rejan, Fugo, they've decided to fall back a little. They do not directly want to engage against the team, against the giants like
Right.
V-Bros, because it becomes hard in this particular lobby to beat the likes of the teams like V-Bros, because V-Bros is indeed, there's no doubt in that V-Bros are not going to dominate the lobby. Maybe the last game was not their better one, but they will somewhere down the line, they will come up at the top. Yes, regardless, a couple of things are coming up short, but V-Bros is going to make a comeback. I'm very sure about it. And the shift, look at the shift, has gone to the other side of the waterbed. It's gone towards the central island. And there's one tricky part right now. All the teams that are on the major side of the island, a major island, these teams are going to have a tough time in simply crossing the waterbed, because whenever you go near to the river, you always attract so many enemies, and those enemies are going to try and take a couple of shots at you, and maybe your team might get eliminated.
Yeah, definitely. That is actually going to be a, let's say, situation, or should I say, a kind of instance which is going to be there. But on the other corner, B4M is actually trying to wreak havoc in the lobby. You can already see a lot of bloodshed coming from their particular corner. Let's see how this whole bloodshed is going to get covered up. Which team is actually going to bounce back and which team is actually going to get calibrated is something which is actually going to be quite interesting to watch out. As you all can see, we have got Legend God, we have got Zero Fear, Arjun, and Pikachu from Team Moonlight. They are trying their level best to let's say be a little bit pacifistic, meanwhile learning about the situations, learning about the rotations. And if we talk about GB, well, they have to cross the water body, and that is something which is going to be quite chaotic for this particular team, because while you are crossing the water body, your your, let's say, footprints are going to be quite visible. I'm not talking about the literal footprints, I'm talking about your kind of, let's say, rotations. Your visibilities are going to be there, and eventually you might be able to just go down.
Yes, but right now, looking at the points table, overall points table, AFTE with 23 points sitting on top. B4M, Beg for Mercy, second spot. They are sitting at the second spot with 22 points. Then we have PW with 15. But for our surprise, there's still this is Moonlight. Moonlight is sitting at the bottom with only 1 point. This team, they still have a chance because it's still the one day, it's still the one match. We still have 5 more matches. Second match is ongoing right now. We have 4 matches after that, and if a couple of matches, like 2 to 3 matches are good, you get a good number. You get 30 bomber in a couple of matches. Boom, you are going to come at least in the top 3.
Definitely, it's going to be quite interesting to watch out who are the teams which are going to be in the top 3, and which is the team which is going to get that booyah. But that shot, well, it was absolutely amazing. With the woodpecker, he was able to just knock him out of the equation, and the finishers is also about to come in. If I'm not wrong, a lot of shots are going to be there for sure, but eventually the players are actually going down. Quite a few players are actually getting shattered, but let's see which is the team who is going to remain on top. On the other corner, if we talk about Lollipop, some more amazing shots from his corner are coming up. This particular team with one amazing kill is still residing in a beautiful spot in this particular play zone, so I think there is actually going to be a bouncing back situation coming up very soon.
Okay, S4. Lollipop and Tamang. The guys are down. Bahundon and Kush. Both the guys will get eliminated. Kush is still waiting for the revival, and I'm not really sure whether the revival is possible because the Lollipop is trying to take shots, but there was one guy coming from the backside. The other guy was coming in front. Tamang, in the meantime, he has come to revive the guys. I'm not really sure whether he'll be able to revive. Yes, for now, Tamang is doing a pretty good job, but I'm not really sure because there are a couple of more guys. It's a 1v2 situation, I believe, if not 1v2. At this particular time, at this point of time, I think 1v1 is also equally lethal, and there you go. He got third partied. I think that's the right way to say, because Moonlight Superman, this team was coming out from outside the circle, and the very moment they spotted this guy, they took him down. Clearly a good shot. Clearly they are building up their way towards the booyah with the man number they're holding.
Rightly said and done, but right now let's see who is going to get the booyah, who is actually going to dominate. Is actually going to be another huge question coming up. As well can see, we have got Legend God coming up once again with some good blows. We have got Arjun who is trying to retaliate, but let's talk about Team PW. Well, there we go, the shots are coming up, they're trying to retaliate, they're trying to gain some good points. 10 players to be precise are surviving. If I talk about PW, only 2 frags from the corner, only 2 kills to be precise. The revival is about to come in. Superman is about to rise once again from the kryptonite. But now if we talk about JB Bantawa, let's see how this solo man standing is going to survive. Yes, of course, a beautiful spot has been delivered to him. He's actually residing in the play zone. That's interesting to watch out. But right now, I guess he can easily go for the top 3 locations, top 3 positions.
JB Bantawa, last man standing. The circle is far, far, far away. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a free frag for Bantawa. And yes, he got that frag. Even though the guy was quite in the open, it's an open sky, and when it comes to the sky, it's, any guy who gets his shot at the guy coming from the sky, he'll get the frag. It's for no one, and it's at the same time for everyone. Bantawa, he's sitting at the nice location, but from this particular location, I don't know how far along he can go because the circle is far away ahead of him. He has to make a move inside the circle, and Bantawa is actually making a difference from that particular spot.
Right. He is surviving. He's actually trying to create the chaos for the teams. But right now, let's focus on one of those teams which have got the manpower. That's going to be PW. But Aizen gets connected on the other corner. Look at that. Levi also gets connected. That's interesting to watch out. Deepu Bot and that Superman is surviving with a huge shot coming from this M187. That's interesting. A huge amount of damage has been delivered from his corner. But right now, is it going to be enough? No, not at all. Deepu Bot remains the last man standing. Well, can he survive? That's the biggest question. Because on the other corner, Moonlight is more than, let's say, decisive in their kind of, let's say, gameplay. They want to get this one into their favor. They want to get this booyah into their favor. But is it going to be a favor done and dusted or not? That is going to be another huge call out today, because the shots are still coming up, and finally the booyah comes in, and it is going to be Team Moonlight with that beautiful booyah in their consideration.
Indeed, Moonlight Esports from the start until the very end, they kept on holding, they kept on fighting, and they've made their way finally to the booyah. In the second match, Moonlight Esports coming up on top. It was a great game, and the best part, yet again, every time I see a team coming in the final battle with a good man number, it is impressive for me, because from the start to the very end, it gets very hard for every single team. And as I've already said, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. This is what Moonlight Esports has proven us. This is the second game, and I think at this moment, it is quite hard for us to make any predictions. Yes, the guys that are watching, for everyone that is watching, for our viewers, for the Fnatic fans, for the Free Fire fanatics, and for the Nepali viewers, let us know in the comment section which team do you think is going to sit on top by the end of the day. We are down to two matches. We are down with two matches. Four more matches to go. The third one is going to be the map of changes, the map of luck, and the map where magic happens. The Red Desert, none other than Kalahari Raider.
Mhm.
You got to see, we got to witness the Pakistani qualifiers. We got to witness the Indian qualifiers. Now we are at the Nepali qualifiers. What are your expectations from the teams? What are your expectations regarding the strategies that we witnessed yesterday and today?
Would love to see the chaos, would love to see the carnage coming up in this whole scenario. And eventually Kalahari is one of those amazing maps which can be the table turner, which can be one of those matches. After two matches, you are able to learn that how your lobby, respective lobby, is performing, and how you can actually achieve the booyah in your consideration. So definitely this match is actually going to be quite critical for these giants to slay. But then again, the thing that I want to watch out is going to be the chaos, the carnage, initial drop clashes, rotational clashes coming up. Well, that's amazing for as a caster, for a viewer. But then again, if we talk about these teams, they want to survive. They want to gain some good position points, and after that, they want to get a booyah. Definitely, not even, let's say, apart from one team, everybody is not going to get any kind of, let's say, booyah into their consideration. But definitely, they are going to pull their socks and eventually get some good close calls into the perspective. And I believe that Kalahari is going to be one of those carnages map very soon.
Talking about drop clashes are a fun thing to watch for us as casters to cast, and for the viewers to view, to watch. But it's a two-headed sword, and every single guy that is going to participate in the game knows it. Whenever you have a drop clash, you have a 50-50 chance. For say, one of the teammates, you might find a gun, but not every guy, because for say, if there are like two teams, there are eight guys in that particular city compound, trying to look out for loot, trying to get their hands at the very first gun that they spot, and trying to take down the players. So it's an equal scenario. So I would say it's quite common to say that it's a two-headed sword. Either teams can get benefited, either teams can get eliminated. Let's see which teams are going to participate in the drop clashes, because as far as I'm concerned, every single team knows where their enemies are going to land. The question is whether they are good enough to go to that particular spot and take down the players. As of now, Vibros, they are definitely most likely going towards the refinery area, because that is their city, that is their home, that is the place from where Vibros clearly established their domination. Yes, there are a couple of other locations as well. For say, Command Post is a nice area. Foundation, you can see so many players going towards the Bayfront area as well. And Shrines, of course, the Blue Zone is over the Shines area. So definitely there's going to be a drop clash at the Blue Zone. Let's see which team is going to take down which team. But as of now, Fugo and Sundar, both the guys are down and dusted.
Yeah, indeed, they have been taken down eventually. In the last one, we saw that how V Bros were, let's say, dominated by this particular team. But right now, as you all can see, the tides have been turned. This particular team is actually getting decimated. On the other corner, if we talk about PW, Deepu Bot, Levi, Heisen, and Superman are surviving. These are the four-man power. Not even a single casualty coming from their corner. Not even a single victim of those particular fights at this moment. So they are trying. They are just living up to the marker. But Moonlight, after that amazing booyah, can they be back again once again with an amazing booyah, or not? if they are unable to get that booyah, they can easily actually gain the kind of consistent performance. They can be in the top 5. But on the other corner, look at that. Fuego and the other guys from Team FD are also trying their level best to attain some good points. Vibros, if I talk about this team, unable to get any frags at this moment. If I talk about this particular team, Lollipop and Bahundon are actually surviving. These are the only two members which are still surviving. Two amazing kills are there from their corner, but eventually their survival is at a stake at this moment. I think the other guy is constantly going for those revivals and stuff, but right now Bahundon is also jumping in the same vicinity where his teammate is residing, and now it can be very critical for the survival of Bahundon and his whole team as well.
Right, Robbie and Joshal, two guys here. BM, Robbie is a little bit in trouble and he gets taken down. Robbie is down. Joshal is trying to save his player, save his teammate, but I believe he won't be able to because Robbie clearly he was at the wrong spot. He got down and the enemy had a better view at taking him down. But Bahundon is still surviving. Lollipop and Bahundon, two guys. I can clearly see it's a 1v2 situation. Both the guys will close in together, but a Lollipop gets taken down. Joshal is trying to fight back and he is comfortably fighting back. I don't know where the other guy is, but Lollipop clearly has been suppressed and dominated by Bahundon. And see, moments like these make the way. Moments like these pave the way for you towards the victory, because
Right.
not every time you are going to get into a comfortable circle, comfortable environment, comfortable fight where you have all the loot, you have all the spot, every good spot cover to take down the enemy. Sometimes you get caught off guard. That's where your skills come into play. That's where your confidence come into play. Regardless whether your teammates are still alive or not, you have to do your best, and then you have to bring back your players. This is how a tournament is played. This is how winnings and winners are made, and this is how you make a great name for yourself and your team.
Indeed, becoming a champion is not an easy task. You have to consider a lot of variables, and eventually you can't go by the book. You have to evolve as per the enemies evolving. But right now, if I'm not wrong, Team Moonlight is way too close to the revival location, and if anybody tries to sneak up on them, that can be very critical for that particular team. Vibros, this team is also looking strong for the moment, but eventually in the last one, we saw that how Vibros got shattered. In this one, can Vibros stand once again and eventually get that booyah? Is going to be another big question coming from our corners and the fans as well. We have got Drago, DRG, and Stalker is there, Poison is there, Krisho is there. They are failing to just, let's say, please the fans. But right now, I believe this is one of those teams who are not going to showcase their kind of talent or their kind of strategies really soon. Well, they will be showing it. They will be showing it when it comes to the survival, when it comes to the, let's say, qualifiers. But then again, if they are in the grand finale, and I pray for them that they are actually going to be in the grand finale of this Asia Cup, and then I believe this team is actually going to put their 110% so that they can win something, so that they can actually showcase that yes, of course, we are meant to be the champions of this Asia continent, to be precise.
All right, GB, B4M, every single team is trying to give their best. But right now, FDE with 34 points, PW with 33 points. Then we have coming in the third spot, Moonlight. And see, after the first game, Moonlight was in the bottom 5, I would say. Now they have made their way up to the top 3. Number 1 FDE, number 2 PW, number 3 ML with the 27 points. Then we have B4 with the 26 points. Then we have B4M. So the margin is too low. Even though FDE is sitting on top with 34 points, but still the difference isn't very big. The teams that are in the bottom, they can also come up with good games and make their way to the top.
Definitely, eventually the buffer is not that much. These teams with some good booyahs can easily rise back in the leaderboard. But then again, is it going to be an easy task? Not at all. Because the teams which are at the top, they have the other kind of pressure that they want to be in the top and they want to remain at the top. And that kind of, let's say, persistency is easily going to create a lot of chaos, and eventually the pressure will be multiplied. But right now, if we talk about BG, Darshan, DDR, Sparky God, these are the 3 members which are still surviving. Donor has been taken down. If the revival is possible, we'll be seeing it very, very soon if he comes back in the lobby. But the safe zone is about to shrink, and you can already see the connectivity, the fights, the crucial close calls are about to come in soon enough. BG still trying to relegate, still trying to survive a bit more, but let's see, is it going to be an easy task or not? Because 42 players are surviving. I think the survival rate, the survival gun game is looking very strong.
Yes, indeed. OPX, Jangi, Chetri, Bear, and Obito. 4 guys I can see. These guys are looking confident. These guys are going to do a great game. The maze area, they are capturing the maze right now. NFC, Yakuza, Manis, Bishal, and Sanam. Sanam is down. Manis He's waiting for the revival, but I highly doubt that he will be revived. And there you go, Yakuza and Vishal. And FC is down to 2 men. They still have a chance. They still have a good amount of time, ample amount of time to bring back the players, but they always have to look out for the other guys, for the enemies, because right now this team, these two guys are trying to make a move. At the same time, the other guys as well. The enemies are at it as well. So wherever you go, always try to look out for the corners. Always try to look out for the covers. You never know. You might find the next enemy in the next corner. But as of now,
Yeah, really sorry
PW,
about that technical issue, guys. Insane, I'm back on the screen. But right now, as you all can see, the connectivities might be coming up, and definitely that thing we were talking about, that how easy is sneaking up, or let's say how crucial it is actually going to be there to sneak up and eventually get some good blows. But it is definitely important for you to just gain some good third-party point, because then again you won't be able to let's say get connected, because you won't be showing your body, you won't be showing your kind of, let's say, placement where you are actually residing in the map, but then again you will be able to get some good points. So definitely that's an good and amazing stars to just sneak up, or should I say become the third partier. But is it easy? Not at all, because this map is the map which is very open-ended. Compounds are there, but then again while reaching the compounds, your position is way too open-ended. You can easily be taken down, and that is what is happening from let's say GB's corner. They are actually popping some heads. Look at that. Sparky got on the other corner, as is also getting some good headshots on his own corner. ABCD is the one of those amazing guns which can easily land you down with some good shots.
yes, Vibros. See, Vibros is a sort of team that plays with a lot of aggression, but clearly they have established this particular fact that this is a great stage. They cannot simply play in a whim. They cannot simply move around the corner trying to take shots, trying to take down frags for the team, because it is going to get them in trouble. If the day is good, if your shots are getting connected, if the rotations are point, that's all right. But at the same time, there's always a little bit of margin for error, which can be proven to be which can be very lethal for you, which can turn out to be very lethal, because every single guy in the lobby cannot undermine their possibilities, undermine their capabilities. Every single guy in the lobby is equally good. So it's a good thing that we bros are giving respect and paying the much needed respect to every single guy by not entirely creating an aggressive gameplay in the lobby. But at the same time, I think a little bit of aggression is really needed, because this is always, I have put pressure in this one.
Indeed, the pressure, indeed, the kind of aggression is also going to be very, very important. As you said, Bound on the other corner is trying his level best to push forward, and look at those beautiful shots coming up. The glue walls have been appointed. He is failing to do so. He's failing to appoint some good shots, but right now he has to patch himself as well. He has to actually bring up those first circuits into the consideration. But the damage that this guy is actually getting inflicted by the particular play zone is absolutely massive. With a beautiful throwable coming up, just like that, NFC survives and the other team gets out of the equation. That was a sweet spot, a sweet jackpot of being hit. Legend got on the corner, manages to put one down from that M187. That's interesting. A lot of shots are coming up, but NFC, Sanam is actually going to go and get that recall for the teammates.
Indeed, NFC, Bishal and Sanam, both the guys are currently sitting. They are lying down, and I think he's waiting for the teammates to. He's waiting for the revival. BM Krish, Robbie, Bikash, and Joshal. And see, this team is back in their feet, alive and kicking. All the credit goes to the player Joshal. Clearly, he has given us highlights for the ages. There was a point where Joshal was at a very tough spot. Yet he came back stronger, and this is how these are small instances which make the big name for yourself, and that's what apparently Joshal did. From this point of time, if the team managed to get the booyah, managed to go on the top, it is going to be a history, and everybody is going to remember this particular gameplay by Joshal, because that was a tough spot. He was at a tough spot. From that moment, they could get eliminated entirely, but no. Joshal said no to the face of defeat. He fought back and he brought his team back.
Indeed, the shots are coming, indeed, the fights are coming up, no doubt on that. But right now, if we talk about PW, well, this team is looking not that sharp. They're getting connected quite a few from quite a few angles, but finally, Legend God manages to put one down. Look at those beautiful shots coming from Moonlight's corner. Legend God was able to dominate, was able to gain amazing finishes, and the way he is performing is looking very, very impressive. PG Darshan on the other corner connects one more guy. He's actually taking out quite a few hits from the lobby. That's interesting. Let's see what happens. Eventually, how the fights will be considered. You can already see they are in the other watchtower. Shots are connecting. ML Superman, that is Moonlight Superman, is once again coming up. Like with that, the consistent performances coming up, no doubt on that. But PW Aizan has been taken down. That's interesting. Will he be back in the scene or not? That is going to be another huge call out because that guy is completely out of equation. If we talk about Rajan, using those grapple hooks, he's just trying his level best to just survive and eventually be in the play zone. But right now, the shots, the way these shots are getting connected, I don't think so. It's going to be an easy task.
Yes, of course. ML, Moonlight, Zero Fear, Arjun, Pikachu, and Legend God. Moonlight Esports. Last game, they played it well. But this game, they are still surviving, alive and kicking. And look at the size of the circle. The circle is considerably small. And comparing the number of guys that are still surviving, circle is relatively very small. The breathing space is going to be very low. It's going to be a tough situation for every single guy in the lobby. No guy is in a better spot. But Darshan, with the grapple gun, he is trying to move inside the edge. And I believe he has found a good spot exactly on the edge of the circle. But see, the circle has moved away from him. Not so lucky at this point of time. And now he's going to be in a tough spot because now he has to go make his way towards the circle. It's going to be a tough call because from every single corner, they are going to take shots at every single guy. But right now, Bantawa, he did play a great game in the last one. This one as well, he was trying his level best. Unfortunately, gets taken down. But the better side of this particular fight is that the other three guys are still surviving.
Yeah, indeed, everybody is trying their level best to attain some good points, but eventually it's not a piece of cake for them to just go ahead and grab the booyah because definitely a lot of teams are actually coming up with the kind of carnage, and this is the third match for the day. So definitely each and every single team knows right now that how the enemy can actually perform and where the ridges can actually be delivered. And the beauty of this whole situation is that we are going to witness these three maps once again getting repeated after this match gets over. So definitely we are going to witness that how the carnage will be reciprocated. BM, Krish is there, Robbie is there, Bikash is there, Joshua is there, as we were talking about, like Joshua is one of those players which is actually come back and forth, coming up with some good shots of his own, and he's trying his level best to showcase his own talent. Meanwhile, supporting the team to just climb back on the leaderboard.
BM, Krish, Robbie, Bikash, Joshal, these guys. But currently, I think I want to know. I want to know how many frags they have secured so far in the game. They're on the edge of the circle. They are at a comfortable spot from this particular spot. They can spot on players coming from the southern side as well, coming from the western side as well, I would say. And Joshal, he has come down, but at the same time, there's Ebros. Ebros is also surviving, and they are having an even better spot. They are somewhat in the center. The circle is gonna be on them. The next circle, I believe, even if it travels away from them, they would still have a comfortable edge. They would still be not so far. But there you go. The circle clearly supporting the team Joshal.
Yeah, indeed. We in Team GB is actually getting supported, if I'm not wrong. And if we talk about VB, that is VBros, look at the beauty of this particular team, the way they are pushing up, the way they are connecting some good shots. Omban has been used up. And this is actually going to be Team PW, which is again getting connected quite a bit. We have Aizan out of equation. Superman is still there. Eva is there. Deepubot is there. But in the last one, we saw that how these things can be quite critical for that particular team. Oh, Deepubot manages to put one beautiful headshot. And just like that, Deepubot and his teammates are back in the synchronization. Booyah is something they are actually achieving and trying their levels to aim on. Well, there we go. GB is out of equation. Now we are remaining with 9 teams and just some amazing teammates. Let's say 9 players are surviving and some amazing teams are actually surviving, no doubt on that. But if we talk about Team WB, or should I say VBros, well, they are connecting. Is the gun that this guy is actually using, and he is using it quite charmfully, and you can only see a huge amount of damage has been inflicted from Stalker's corner. Another shot comes in, damage is there. He was unable to knock him out, but desperately did the part. Well, again a knockout comes in. Right now he has to connect. Let's see, is it going to be a possibility or not? That is something we have to watch out for. Well, there we go. Just like that, if I'm not wrong, Team Moonlight is also, Team PW, I guess, is out of equation.
Oh, VBros. This is the point of time where they have to make a little fallback. they have to bring and try to get their team call back. And right now they are in a small deck and they have to brawl back. Right now we can see three guys, Talker, Poison, Krishu. They are fighting against, I don't know which team, the other team. I want to see the other corner as well. What's happening with the other corner? Krishu, he does not have the cover, but he's trying to make the best use of whatever he has at his disposal, which is glue wall, glue walls.
Oh,
They come in very handy. Right now, Krish, he was the last man from the team BM, surviving, alive and kicking. Unfortunately, gets taken down because he was the last man. I think he should have gone for a little more passive play at this point of time. He should have at least stood his ground towards the safety. He should have gone behind the cover rather than taking fight because he already knew there are a couple more teams in front of him. And since he was the last man standing,
wow.
he went for the frag. But this time, Vibro looking very confident. And in the third game, Vibros have secured their Puya. That was a great game by the team Vibros. And especially, they did not lose their man number. Every time, if a team comes to the final battle with their man number intact, I am always going to point this particular thing out because I firmly believe that man number plays the most vital role in providing, in giving you the victory, in bringing out the best performance in you.
Definitely, if you have the manpower, you are confident, you can easily get the support. Even though you are knocked out, like Krishu was taken down from the guy from the BM's corner, if I'm not wrong, from Zoshal's teammate. But then again, Krishu was revived because his teammates were there, because he knew that is why he was actually overexposed. He was able to, let's say, put forth that kind of strategy where he was exposing himself, becoming a bait, and eventually his teammates were able to gather those amazing facts. And this is how actually the teammates, or should I say, the manpower is going to help you a lot. This is let's say kind of a tip for all of those newcomers, all of those new rising stars which want to actually dominate the stages of Free Fire Max. And eventually, if you want to consider yourself in the Booyah stages, you have to be having the manpower. You have to have at least your teammate at the back, at least one single teammate at the back, so that you can actually rise back, survive a little bit more, and eventually showcase your talent. Because if you are the solo man standing, there are two things that you that are going to avoid you from performing at your peakest. That is, the confidence is not going to be there. That is, there is not going to be any kind of support for you. If you get connected, if you get shot down, it's all done and dusted for the team. You are out of equation. You're out of the lobby. Next match is going to give you the chance. But right now, if you have the manpower, I guess that knockout can be converted in a recall. That finish can be converted in a recall. That knockout can actually be converted in a revive situation. And you will be back in the area where you can fight back and eventually showcase the enemy that, yes, I'm also capable of putting you down.
Indeed, see, regardless of the situation you're in, the match is not going to stop. There's always going to be one winner. If not you, somebody else is going to take
For
the throne.
sure.
So it's the matter of pride, it's the matter of efforts. Regardless, you have to keep moving. You have to keep your head up, no matter whatever the situation is. Try to fight back. If not, try to escape on time. And decision making is very crucial, and that's where the IGL, the expertise, the skill set of an IGL comes into play. IGL always tries to frame his calls as per the demand, but it's the team, it's the collective efforts of the team that makes the IGL a best IGL. But right now we are down with one half of the game. Three matches are
Mhm.
down. First one was Bermuda, second Purgatory, the third one is Kalahari. And now we are going to head towards our second half of the day. Second half, three more matches to go. Back to back, we saw different winners. Yesterday, in the Pakistani region, we only got to see one team. That was Forever, that repeated its booyah. Apart from that, there were four other names. I am expecting today in Nepali region, I'm expecting six matches, six winners. But at the same time, because I have seen these guys play, I know how which team plays in what manner. So I'm expecting Booyah, B-Bros to get another Booyah as well. But at the same time, what I actually want is every single team, like six different names, to get the glory to their name at least for the day.
Yeah, definitely. If that actually happens, it will be very, very amazing to watch out that how these teams are actually going to cooperate and eventually get some good blows. Bermuda, again, another beautiful map coming up. Let's see how this whole situation will be calibrated. Booyah is something that every team is setting their sights on. But right now, let's talk about this particular team. We have got Mamba Fuyogo, Jordex. Jordex is there. RB Rijan is actually going to be there. Sundar is actually there. The performance coming from these guys in the second match was absolutely amazing. But in the third one, they were actually shot down by Team V Bros as well. So absolutely, I guess turning of the tides are coming up. But right now, 48 players are surviving in the lobby, as you can see. But still, the connectivity is something which is getting declined. The clashes are actually not there. The, let's say, kind of retaliation is not there. But on the other corner, OPX, one good member, was able to take one down.
In the initial corner, if you manage to get the frag, if you manage to take down the players, it's always good. But at the same time, FDE gets eliminated. Okay, this was a bad state. Is history going to repeat itself? Yesterday, we saw one good Puya from the team Yoto Killers. Today, we got to see one good Puya from the team If Peaky Dimensions. The first game was their own. The second game, they fell back up short. And the third game, they got eliminated in the very early stage. And the fourth game, now they got eliminated. They are in a tricky situation. They are in a tricky spot right now. NFC Yakuza is down. Manis and Bishal, two guys still surviving, alive and kicking. Sanam is dead. Yakuza gets a revival. NFC coming back strong yet again. Let's see. They are trying to push back the teammates. They are trying to push on and create a good game for themselves. But they are in the center half of the map. It's a good spot. From there, you would still you would still have access to the next circle, because since you are already in the center, the circle, one edge of the circle is always going to be on you.
Definitely, it is actually going to be quite interesting to watch out that how these things are actually going to be there. And in the last one, we see that how beautiful the teams are actually trying to come back. We were talking about Vibros and the kind of inconsistency that they were approaching with, but right now we saw that in the third one, in the map of Kalahari, we saw that how beautifully Vibros is actually coming back with the game. But can Moonlight actually repeat their own booyah, or is it going to be some other team which is going to be there as a fresh face and get that booyah into their consideration is going to be the call out as well. We want to see some new faces as a caster, but then again, is it going to be a possibility? We'll be seeing it very, very soon. But for the moment, if we talk about Team Moonlight, they're just collecting more and more utilities so that they can be ready for the next upcoming backlash.
Indeed, Moonlight Esports, they would want to have their hands at another booyah. They are currently at a good position. They've had a good start. They've had a great start, and at the same time, they would want to continue with the same domination in the mid segment of the game, in the mid segment of the day, and then they would want to end the day with a bang, with a booyah. Let's see how far and long they can go with this particular dream of theirs. But I would say Moonlight is going to retain. Moonlight, regardless, they are going to retain their top 3 spot at least. If not the hashtag one, then they would still be at the top 3 spot by the end of the day. This is what I am expecting from this particular team, because see, last 3 games, one game they managed to get the booyah. First game was a little off track for them. They got eliminated early in the game, early in the quarters. But the third game, they tried to give their best, and yes, they managed to secure a couple of good frags, couple of good points as well. But clearly, we can never disregard, we can never disregard the presence of Vibros in the lobby. This team always makes a huge difference whenever it is in the lobby.
Indeed. The difference is about to come in. The fights are about to come in. So let's see what will happen. The save zone is also shrinking right now. 40 players are surviving out of 48. We are actually losing team 8 players to be precise out of this whole situation. But if I talk about this particular team, Vipros is still actually not having any kind of consideration. But in the last one, we saw that Vibros were pretty much dominant in the first few zones. But after that, they started popping it off, and eventually the way they were popping it off was absolutely amazing. And lastly, they got that beautiful booyah into their consideration. In this one, can they actually get the booyah, or is it going to be the turning of the tides? We'll be seeing it very, very soon. But of course, the fans are actually more than prominent about getting a booyah from Vibros corner once again. But let's see what happens. Usually, if the booyah comes in, that would be great. But right now, this team has to focus on leaving their places and eventually being in the zone.
Okay, Vibros, Dragorg. Actually, the name is Drago Guru, and the GRG is short for Puram, and Drago has a pretty good experience in playing the Indian lobbies. He was a part of one of the best lineups in India. That was back then. That was Total Gaming. Now it has left the org Total Gaming, and now they are playing with the name Team Mafias. Drago was a part of this particular team, and Team Mafias is a great team. But right now, the goodness of the team, the goodness of the teammates has been transferred and influenced Drago as well. Drago is an equally good player, equally great player, and there's no doubt if I say that Drago is one of the best players in the Nepali server, in the Nepali segment of our Free Fire Max. But right now, I would say there are certain other guys as well. For say Mega King, if you talk about Mega King, Abiral, there are a couple of other teams as well. A couple of guys from the team Moonlight as well. Superman, yes, Superman. I have personally seen Superman clutch out of so many worse situations where even the most professional guys would simply lay down their arms. Superman has come up on top. Lollipop, it's a good name. It's indeed a good name. And actually, this is Shripach Taman. Earlier, when I witnessed this team, it was S5. Now they have replaced English number 5 with, I believe, this is either Hindi or Nepali language. So it is Shripach 5, Tamang, Kush, Lollipop, and Bahundon. All the guys are absolutely great players.
But indeed, the players are great, and we are actually bringing you with the best of the best. Let's say the cream of Nepal at this moment in this particular lobby. But let's see how these cream are actually going to fight with each other, and getting that booyah is actually going to be quite an amazing to watch out. But right now, we have got Donor, we have got Sparky God, we have got DDR, we have got Darshan. But once again, let's watch out to the live standing. PW still remains on top with 51 amazing points, and there is a buffer between PW and FDE. As you can see, FDE is having only 38 points into the consideration at the second position. GB with 36, WB, or should I say V-Bros with a beautiful booyah, is actually having 35 points because they were not consistent in the first two matches. But right now, I guess with that booyah, V-Bros confidence is actually going to boost up, and eventually they will be back in the scenario. Beg for Mercy is also failing to do so with 34 points. And if we talk about Moonlight, 33 points for them as well. B4 with 30 points as well. B4M with 27. TC with 23 of their own. NFL with 20 points. And if we talk about BG with 17 points. OPX is the only team which is unable to just touch the double-digit marker at this moment.
Okay. But OPX is a great team, mind. Raider, OPX is actually a very good team, but I'm not sure what's wrong with the team right now. They are not at all in their comfortable zone. They are not at all in their comfortable spot. Maybe there must be a little bit of lack of coordination. Something is wrong with the team right now. They should try to introspect whatever their calls, whatever situation that is being made in the corner, in their corner right now. They have to analyze, observe, and then they have to eliminate that particular problem and come up with a good game. Because if they do not do anything, so far, see, 3 matches are done, and after 3 matches, they barely have 5 points, which is very low, which is extremely low. So I think they should simply try and turn around their strategy. They should do everything that is in power to bring out the best strategy so that they can at least build good number of points to have a little bit of hope in the next day as well.
Yeah, indeed. Building those points, racking some good points is actually going to be quite important for these giants. So let's see how are they actually going to get those amazing points in their consideration, because as far as the match is concerned, the connections and the brutalities are for sure coming up. The fights are actually coming up, no doubt in that. The retaliation fires and the teams which are trying to delegate each other is also coming up. But right now, Kota Tau is there, Cape Town is there, Keraton is there, and Peak is there in the zone, which is actually having some good compounds. But apart from that, I guess the teams have to just approach and be in the play zone. Otherwise, the safe zone is not going to actually just, let's say, let them go. It is actually going to punish. There are two things that you have to actually avoid with. That is the play zone and the flight path. That is the two things they have to actually pay your respect through. Otherwise, the game can be very, very adverse for you. But right now, if I talk about PW, Aizan and Superman are the only two giants which are still surviving. Levi and Deepu Bot is out of equation, but OPX is starting to pop out. This could be the match where OPX might actually get the booyah.
Okay, PW. This particular team was sitting on top, and right now the chips are very low for them. The chips are very low for them. The stakes are too high, and they're down to one last man. but there's still hope, a little bit of hope, because a couple of vending machines I can see inside the circle. So there still is a little bit of hope for all the other guys to make a good comeback. If in case that guy manages to go to the vending machine, survive and thrive among all the opponents, and see Vibros, they're having a good spot. They are inside the circle on the higher ground, on the higher side. And from this particular spot, I think they'll be able to get some more frags, add up some a little more frags for them. But they'll have to be moving, because I highly doubt if the next circle is gonna be on them. Once the circle takes the move, makes a move, you've got to go inside the circle no matter what. Because if you do not pay respect to the circle, I would only
Right.
say there's only one thing I would say: circle is not your friend, zone is not your friend. Please do not let it simply become your enemy.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. You have to actually abide the respects and eventually give the respects, pay your respects to these particular things and eventually survive a little bit more. So, right now, if we talk about the play zone, it is actually going on the western corner, going on the eastern corner of this whole circle. But apart from that, I believe the shots are about to come in really very soon because the teams might be coming up in the close quarters. 27 players are surviving, and now I guess the closeness, the proximity is about to increase really very soon. The guns that these guys are actually using are actually one hell of a chaotic guns coming up. One good shot can easily land you down to the knees, but let's see what happens eventually. Mega King wants to be that Mega King, as per as the name is actually stating that he is the Mega King. Let's see how the performance will be supporting that claim of his own. Let's see what happens eventually. Mega King and his teammates are actually in a small, let's say, shaky region. They are in the center of an area, and don't you think so, Insane? This is actually going to create them, or let's say make them the center of attraction of this lobby.
Indeed, whenever you are in the center of the circle, especially these sort of circles, when you are in the number 5 or number 6 circle, if you manage to get your way, make your way to the center of the circle, you become the center of attraction. From every corner, whenever you try to take fight at towards any corner, all the other opposite ends are also going to take shots at you. But as a great guy once said, if you want to be the best, you've got to beat the best, and that is period. There's no doubt in that. B4M trying to look forward, trying to push in, beg for mercy. They're planning to make the other guys, make the enemies beg for mercy. I'm not really sure if it is possible or not. But right now, Sripach looking confident. They still have 3 guys standing. Kush got down, could not revive Kush. But this time it is about time they should be in the circle. But they are the circle does not have so many compounds. There's only one compound which is outside the circle, and it has
Right.
already been like occupied. So it is going to be a tough battle for Siripach to even enter the circle.
Yeah, definitely the battle is going to be quite tough for them to survive and eventually incline in terms of these points table. But at this moment, as you can see, Drago Gurung is also trying his level best to attain some good points. But I don't know what this guy is actually trying to do. He's way too up. And the beauty of this is that he's in the play zone. That's interesting. Team OPX is constantly trying their level best to survive a bit more. And if we talk about this particular team, NFC is
Double
getting tagged out quite a
kill.
bit. But with that axe shot, just like that, he was able to finish one more off. Team NFC, the two basic difference consideration is moving up ahead, but right now B4M Mega King also gets connected, and Evertogo managed, but they are also trying to push forward, attaining some good closes. Is going to be the call out for this particular team. The glue walls have been appointed so that the covers are there, but definitely those glue walls are going to get burst out as far as the shots are concerned. And if I'm not wrong, the push can be very, very critical at the moment. And as we were talking about Team NFC becoming the center of attraction, that's exactly what is happening. As you all can see, Sanam is actually already at a loss, is already paying the result of actually becoming the center of attraction. But on the other corner, if we talk about the rest remaining players, they're constantly moving up ahead, and Yakuza manages to put one down with some beautiful shots.
Actually, we really need to appreciate the move that NFC is making. They were outside the circle, even though they had a compound all by themselves. But the circle shifted towards the other end, yet they managed to clearly get to the circle, or even on the edge. They managed to get a good edge of the circle. Right now, BM looking confident. Joshal is not in a great state. Yet the team B4, if Joshal is surviving, we still have hope. Team BM still have a little bit of hope. But in the meantime, Moonlight Esports, all the 4 guys still surviving. They have managed to come in among top 16 players in the lobby. Moonlight, Arjun gets down, Zero Fair, Legend God, and Pikachu. 3 guys. I can see 3 guys, and oh my god, the entire the entire advantage has been lost. The down to one last man. I'm not really sure whether the last man is going to survive or not, because clearly right in front of his eyes, two guys got down and got dusted. But right now, we bros sticking together with the bros and trying to secure a couple more frags in order to enter the circle, in order to make their way to the booyah. And I believe we're all down to, if not four, then three teams.
Indeed. The picks are coming up. The number of teams are actually falling short at this moment. But right now, we have to see that which is the final team who is actually going to get away with the booyah for this fourth match of the day of the Nepali qualifiers, to be precise. But yes, of course, these teams are trying their level best to delegate and get some good points. As you all can see, shots are coming up. N188-887 has been used up. But finally, B4M Kshatriya also gets out of the equation because the play zone was damaging him out. The players were actually damaging him out. But that throwable manages to put a lot of damage on the particular guy. And the knockout comes in. NFC still tries to survive. 6 amazing kills that they have attained at this moment, and I believe they are lurking in the shadows for that booyah. They might be able to get that, but that is actually one of those amazing instances where this team is just constantly wreaking havoc. Manis gets down. This could be the momentum where Manis is easily going to, let's say, give the position of the enemy, and with that they can easily claim the charts. But Vishal, meanwhile, he's the only man standing right now, and that can be very critical. A match where this team could have actually got that winner, got that booyah, has been lost from their hands.
Team V Bros. Yes. Once again, they've managed to pave their way to the booyah. Fourth match, they've got another booyah, and V Bros is the sort of a team that I already mentioned earlier. V Bros will get a second booyah, and we are down with 4 matches, 2 more matches to go. Clearly, I won't be surprised, Raider, if
Yeah.
V Bros gets 2 more booyahs, because I have seen them do in the league qualifiers of a Free Fire Nepal Championship. I remember in the very first day, they opened the event with 4 back-to-back booyahs. That was a great game that day. I still remember that, and luckily I was the one casting the match. And by the end of the qualifiers, Vibros was way ahead of all the other teams. Out of 18 teams, Vibros, the difference between #1 and #2 was more than 150 points. So you can clearly see the domination that Vibros make when it comes to the game. Right now, Vibros are in a cruise control mode. With this booyah, with this good game, they've made their way to the #1 position, and it is still the first game. Only 4 matches have been done. 2 more matches to go, and we're expecting a couple more booyahs from the team V Bros.
Oh, indeed. 2 good more booyahs can actually bump their position quite a bit. And as you were talking about, there was a buffer between #1 and #2 of more than 150 points. Well, that buffer is something which can't be, let's say, overcome that easily. So I guess they are just trying to repeat the history. They're just trying to make a name for themselves. Eventually, I believe first and second match was just like a warm up for that particular team. They were trying their level best to grasp that how these teams are actually going to perform, how the remaining 11 teams are going to perform. But right now, when they have got the gist of this particular fight, I believe they are just overpowering every single team. And even though NFC had the chance of getting that booyah into their consideration, but the way they tackled it out was absolutely amazing. And after that, they embarked their journey to this amazing booyah, which was absolutely amazing. I don't know how many points it is going to be there in the leaderboard, but definitely 12 points for the booyah. That's a huge amount of buffer for them. Apart from that, I guess the number of finishes would have been also very, very amazing. But no doubt, the next upcoming 2 matches are going to be quite crucial, because it's going to be Purgatory, it's going to be Kalahari. Both of those maps are going to be quite vital. If the zone comes into the bridges, we will be happy, players will be sad. And if I talk about Kalahari, well, that map actually comes up with its own cons, because it is way too open-ended and stuff like, let's say, compounds are way too low. But right now, we are once again diving into the map of Purgatory, and the flight path is actually coming from the western corner to the eastern corner. It's a beautiful horizontal flight path coming up, but right now we have to study how these teams are actually going to pull through with the match.
At this point of time, I think all the other teams have already realized that Vibros. There's one team Vibro, the other team Moonlight. There are a couple of teams who have started to make a great, solid lead for themselves. They've started to build a solid heads up for them, and the other team should look out for every single team, because only 3 teams are going to qualify from this particular round to the next round. And clearly, there are a couple of teams which are looking very confident at this moment. Moonlight Esports, yes. V-Bros, they are also looking confident. And Moonlight Esports in the meantime, Arjun gets down. He is in the open. I doubt whether this guy is gonna get revived, but still V-Bros, they're currently in the middle of all the three islands, and they're holding V-Bros. Okay, Arjun gets down and dusted. He was already down, and OPX has secured their first frag in the game. This is quite a surprise for us because the last game OPS barely had 5 points for themselves. GB, Bantawa, Bipin, B4M as well, Abiral, Mega King, Gurung, Chetri. I can clearly see a bit of improvement in the team. B4M, the first game they did not do well. In the next 3 games, they tried to do something good and they eventually did. Yes, there's only going to be one winner. There's only going to be one team that gets the booyah. But still, even if you manage to get to the 4th or 5th spot with a couple of good frags, it's a good start. It's a good start. You can definitely build your way. Sometimes some teams take very short amount of time to build their momentum. Some teams take a little bit more, but that's all right. It's a slow pace game. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You take your time, but please try to make sure that the time frame that you take in order to get that momentum done, get that momentum going, is not so much.
Yeah, indeed. It should not be that late that when you are actually trying to gain the momentum, you actually lose all of the matches and eventually you're out of the tournament. Yes, of course, you lose, you learn something. Well, we often say that either you win it or you learn from it. But right now, if we talk about the fights, OPX is actually learning quite a few things from their previous fights. They were losing in the first 2 matches. In the third one, they tried to actually come back once again in the Kalahari map. And after that, if we talk about the next Bermuda, they definitely tried their level best to attain some good points. But Boya is something which is getting declined from the corner. On the other corner, if we talk about this particular team, we have got Sundar, we have got Rajan, we have got Jodex and Foyeko. Jodex on the other corner gets connected quite a bit, but still he survives. He's going to patch himself. He has got the scar. And if we talk about Foyeko, he's also appointing the scar for the damages which are about to come in from this particular team's corner. But let's see how they're going to deflect, how they're going to put that gun game into the consideration, because a lot of teams are still surviving. 45 players are surviving, to be precise, and you have to be in the top 3 to be precise. That could be a comfortable position to reside on. But then again, if you get that booyah, that is something which is going to fill you with the joy.
All right. MFC Yakuza. MFC is playing a good game. The circle is an ideal one. I think currently no team is going to face any issues in making the rotation. It's a standard circle. It's an ideal circle. Unlike many other times where we see the circle either going extremely to the northeastern side or extremely to the southern side. It's a standard circle. Every single team is in a comfortable spot right now. They can totally make a comfortable rotation unless the rotation gets intervened by some other team. That's when the problem arises. But right now, as of now, the Free Fire Max gods are being very towards the end, I'm expecting this goodness to end up in a more complicated scenario because the meta, it is definitely going to do a good number over all the teams.
Well, indeed, the meta is actually going to get explored at this moment. As you can see, M10 was used and a beautiful shot from Fuego's corner was able to deliver one amazing knockout. But on the other corner, Sundar was taken down, but finally the revival comes in, and just like that, this team has attained 2 amazing beautiful kills into their consideration. And the team which is getting damaged has to come back with some more intensity, has to come back with some more, let's say, kind of consistency into their perspective. But with that, I guess Team V-Bros with 10 amazing points is looking sharp in the leaderboard, no doubt in that. Before that, previously, if I'm not wrong, in the 4th match, we were watching the love standing, and at that moment, V-Bros were at #5, if I'm not wrong. But with this one beautiful booyah, they have actually inclined to the first position, which is massive for them. On the other corner, if we talk about PW, they are also slowly but steadily catching the grasp because they just have to gain 2 more points to just cross down, or should I say, touch V-Bros in the leaderboard.
Krishu is down, but I think he'll make a comeback. Drago, Stalker, Poison, all the 3 guys, they are good teammates. The trio is absolutely good, but Quadra is always better than a trio. And there you go, Krishu has come back. Krishu has made his way back to the lobby. They have currently captured the central area. It's a good spot. The circle is still on them. And okay, that was a good shot. Rohan, last man standing. Ujesh, Bipin, Bantawa. These 3 guys are down. These 3 guys are about to get dead, but Rohan is trying to make a move. I'm not really sure whether Rohan will be able to make a move, but he's trying to secure his way inside. He's trying to make it to the safety by going inside the glue wall, but unfortunately it's a matter of a couple of seconds. Yes, he managed to revive Bantawa, but I'm not really sure whether there's going to be a huge difference because Bantawa gets knocked down again. Rohan is still fighting. Okay, Rohan has taken down a couple of players. Once more with a shotgun in hand. He's going to go for one more. He wants to seal the deal. Unfortunately, from the far distance, Rohan gets down, and there you go. GB gets eliminated.
A beautiful team, but now they have been taken down. FDE, if I talk about this particular team, Charlie and the other guys are not that damaged, but then again, the people who were damaged are now back in the game. If I talk about Team OPX, they are still surviving with 0 frags into their consideration. This team has to attain some good, amazing points into their favor, but right now they are in the play zone, so I guess they are residing quite peacefully, to be precise. But then again, if I talk about this particular play zone, look at that. A beautiful water body is going to cross, and a lot of teams have to cross over and eventually go to the campsite region or Brasilia region, towards Brasilia to be precise, and while doing that kind of stuff, they might easily get connected.
Okay, Lumber Mill area, the circle has made its shift. I won't say it's a complicated shift, but yes, either side, if the circle towards the end, the circle goes to the either island, it's going to be a tricky one. If the teams are at the central island, it's going to be a tricky one for them to go to the big side of the island. Either side, either way, it is going to be a complicated one because where the waters are, it always make their way tough. They generally get out of the covers. The water side, the seashore, I would say, the river shore, the riverbeds, they do not have so many covers, and it gets a little tough. But right now, there you go, BM. This is quite a coincidence that every time we see BM, there's only one guy that is surviving, that always survives, is Joshal.
I mean, it's interesting. He is one of those guys who is more than capable to survive and eventually get his team back in the region. That's interesting to watch out, but let's see how this whole situation will be carried away by that Solomon standing guy. Rajan on the other corner is also surviving. That guy is actually holding the Mac, and on the other corner, Kush manages to put one down, and a beautiful showdown coming from this particular team is also coming up. 2 amazing kills from their corner, but then again, Tamag and Lollipop are at a loss. So that is something which is going to be quite critical. They have to get those 2 giants back in the game. Otherwise, it's going to impact their performance in the last upcoming zones.
Okay, FDE, Charlie, Shibu, Maddox, and Mylene, 4 guys we can see, and PG as well, 2 guys, DDR and Donor, both the guys are down and dusted. Darshan and Sparky got it. These 2 guys are alive and surviving. B4M in the meantime, Abiral, Mega King, Gurung and Shetri. 4 guys beg for mercy. They want the other guys to beg for mercy. Constant shots are being shot at the other team, but unfortunately, one shot from the opponent, he gets down. That was a great shot from the other team, but I think Mega should have tried to have a better connection with the shots on the enemies.
Yeah, definitely. If you want to succeed, you want to actually get the success in kind of, let's say, your eliminations, you have to be more than pinpoint precise in terms of your aiming, and eventually you have to learn that way that people are actually going to come from, and eventually you have to predict that kind of strategy as well. Mega King on the other corner managed to pass himself. If we talk about CW after the loss of Levi, this team is constantly trying to recover on the enemy, and you can already see they are a little bit on the successful end, and just like that, I believe of one amazing team, B4M is out of equation, and just like that, we are left with quite a few teams, 25 players to be precise, and 5 amazing kills, 5 amazing eliminations is coming from PW's corner.
ML, Moonlight, all the 4 guys, see, this is the best thing about this particular team and the other team VPros as well. They always stick together. They always try to keep the man number going, keep the man number up, because they've already realized the importance of having a good man number. If all the 4 guys are alive and kicking, if all the 4 guys are still up and fighting, they have a good edge over all the other players, over all the other opponents, because towards the end circle, all what matters is a better position and a better man number. Position, it all depends on the rotation, but man number is still up to you. Whether you stick together, whether you give cover, proper cover and coordinate with your teammates in order to maintain that man number, or you simply lose it.
indeed. Those are the things you have to be actually worried about. Bros once again is one of those teams which can easily get that booyah, but then again the competition level is not going to reside down very soon. Bahun Dawn, is if I talk about this guy, he's also trying his level best to constantly survive, but some shots on team PW are also getting connected. Deepu Bot, Levi are actually there, Aizan is there, Superman is there. And right now, as you can see, the shots can be very critical. M14 is actually the gun he's actually using, but can you think so? And this where people, these players to be precise, are going to be able to just put down the enemy. Constantly trying to level best, but right now, look at that beautiful play zone coming up. That circle is going to be way too critical for a lot of teams to just cross over.
BG, Darshan, DDR, Sparky God, and Donor. Team with all the 4 guys surviving, I think they are gonna give a good shot at the booyah. They are gonna get a good shot, and they are going to give a tough competition to the teams like Moonlight and V4M. Man number is extremely critical at this point of time, and look at the circle. Circle is turning up the heat in the game. The circle is creating all the pressure and complications. Right now, NFC is also with 4 man. This is a good start. This is a good game so far. 23 guys standing. Bishal gets the knock, and I believe Bishal is gonna get dusted from the far distance. The players are trying to take shot. The players are trying to take down the player. There's a guy behind the glue wall, and Bishal is up. Bishal got the revival done. BM Joshal yet again surviving last man. This guy is good, but at this point of time, I hardly doubt that Joshal is going to make a huge difference in the points, because he's the last man standing. He can barely take a risk at the moment, and now the shots have started to come at Joshal. He is being taken shots at. He's getting the damage, and okay. He has brought back all the 3 players.
That's amazing. Now the team is back in the game, so I believe that is actually going to be quite amazing to watch. But I believe once the parachute gets open, the shots are about to come in. On the other corner, as you can see, Bishal has been eliminated. We've got Sunda, we've got Jordex and Fuego on the other corner also going back and forth, eliminating some players, eliminating and trying to give the kind of damage that we are actually expecting. But Fuego was connected quite a bit. Now he has patched himself. 200 HP has been restored, but let's see what happens eventually. We have got PW once again back with the 4-man power. We have got Superman from this corner, Aizen, Lavi and Deepu Bot. These are the 4-man power which are constantly back and forth, gaining some good points. Let's see how these whole situations will be carried away. For the moment, would like to add on, these teams are constantly trying their level best to attain some good points. But PW is one of those teams along with V4M which knows to be precise to maintain their consistent grounds.
EW, Deepu Bot, Levi, Aizen and Superman. The 4 guys are surviving. They are alive. Look at the size of the circle. See, Raider from the very first day, whenever Purgatory map comes up, this is the complication that I always talk about.
Right.
This is the complication right now. Every single guy, they don't have so many covers to get behind and make a good comeback. Right now, Moonlight Arjun, he has spotted a player within the chrono shield. He made a move. He took down Arjun right in front of the eyes of other teammates. But Legend God is also down. Moonlight Esports clearly losing their advantage, but Legend God is gonna get revived. The zone has also come. Legend God gets down again. Pikachu also takes the knock from the far distance, and this is what I've always been talking about.
Well, the knockouts are coming up, and this beautiful zone is actually going to eliminate a lot of perspectives from these particular teams, because right now survival is something which is going to create a lot of chaos. Moonlight is actually going to get declined for that booyah, I think so, because the number of shots that Zero Fear is actually receiving is way too high, and eventually I don't think so there is actually going to be a scenario where he's going to bring back his teammates. So will this M10 help him or not? That is going to be a huge question. As you all can see, a lot of shots are coming from Team FD's corner as well, because this team is a little bit hungry. They have only 2 frags, they have only 2 kills into their consideration. Right now they're hunting for more, and is it going to be a possibility where they're going to get 2 more frags, or let's say get that booyah as well? Well, it will be very amazing to watch out if a booyah comes in from Team FD's corner, because this team have not tasted the booyah yet, and if that happens, well, we are going to witness some new faces coming up.
EW, Deepu Bot, Levi, Aizen, Superman, all the 4 guys are still pushing forward, making their way towards the booyah. We are down to 10 men. 4 of these Deca PW squad, I think they are at a comfortable spot to get the booyah. They are almost on the verge of getting the booyah from this They are at a very close spot, and now they have to create, deviate, and aggravate the situation in order to get their hands at the most
Oh
needed
man.
booyah. Clearly, Moonlight Esports gets eliminated. FDE in the other corner, they're also surviving, and FDE gets eliminated, and there you go. The booyah goes to the team PWP. Pubot, Levi, Eisen. They did not lose a single man number from the beginning until the very end. They kept on fighting, they kept on surviving, and they have finally managed to get their hands at the most awaited booyah. I think this was a crucial booyah for them.
Indeed, indeed. This is the first fifth match for day number one of the Nepali qualifiers, and in which, if you are getting a booyah, yes, of course, you are maintaining your own strength in the leaderboard, and that actually shows that they are able to dominate. They might be able to bounce back once again in the leaderboard, and that is something which was quite critical. But I don't know what happened to FDE. They were outside the play zone. I don't know what they were trying to do, but I guess if they tried their level best to be in the zone, appointing some glue walls and eventually trying to chase the enemy, I think there might have been a fighting chance for that particular team as well. But they were taken on quite swiftly outside the particular play zone, and just like that, Booyah was served rightly, and a much awaited and a deserving Booyah was served for Team PW.
Yes, indeed, that was the most awaited booyah. We are down with matches. We are all down to one last match to go. That is going to be Kalahari. I'm expecting, I think, Raider, it is about time we make a couple of predictions.
Yeah.
I want you to make a prediction. Who do you think is going to get their hands at the last booyah of the day?
Well, I would like to go with Vibros as well, because
Okay.
they have actually shown their kind of comeback. And I don't know much about that particular team, but the way they are trying to play is absolutely amazing. They are one of those aggressive team which knows how to play strategically as well. So that is something which I actually always bowed on to. So I think Vibros can be one of those amazing team. And if it want to, let's say, pick up second team, I guess that could be Team GB.
Okay, I'd also go with the team Vibros because I've personally seen this particular team play. There were a couple of other teams as well from the Nepali server which are not here.
Hmm.
Regardless, every single team that is here, they deserve to be at this spot. They deserve to be among the teams playing currently, and they deserve to go to the next round as well. But this is simply the structure of the tournament. Only three teams are going to manage it to the next round, where the real battle starts, where the Indian giant, the Bangladesh captains, the teammates, the players from the Sri Lankan region, from the Indonesian region, all the other regions are also going to come and battle it out for the glory. But right now, the last and the final game of the day has begun. We are all up with the Battle of Kalahari. Let's see how these guys turn up the heat.
Well, already this is a desert-like map. Heat is actually going to create a lot of ruckus in this lobby. So let's see how this whole situation will be carried away. The flight path, I believe, is coming from the eastern corner to the western corner. It was quite an amazing flight path coming up. We'll be seeing a lot of teams jumping around. We'll be seeing a lot of backlash coming up. Booyah is actually going to be pretty much far away, I guess. If I talk about the particular fights, the connectivities are coming up. Some players are trying their level best to chase the enemies. Guns have been delivered. They are trying their level best to fight back. If I talk about this particular team, Lollipop and the other guys are trying to chase the drop clash that they witnessed right now.
Shripach, I'm expecting a good performance from this particular team as well because Lollipop, Kush, Bahundan, and Tamang. I've seen these guys play, but see, this is quite a coincidence that in the last game as well, and in this particular game, OPX Obito was the first one to take the very first frag of the game. That was quite a good achievement, I would say. Right now as well, in this particular game, OPX Obito in the last game as well, but this time he gets taken down by the team Moonlight Tamang. He has taken him down, and I believe Shripach is also making their way. In the meantime, BM Bikash is down, Robbie and Krish and Joshal, three guys surviving. And I simply don't want this time Joshal to be the last man standing. I believe I am expecting the other guys to take the credit as well. I want the other guys to support Joshal in this particular game because every time we see BM, it's Joshal who stands still as the last man standing.
Indeed, he's the guy who is actually becoming the terror for the enemies as well, because he's one of those guys who can easily get some good blows into his favor and eventually bring back his team. But in the last match, despite of actually bringing the whole team apart in the game, the team was actually taken apart. The team was actually taken down. Right now, if we talk about this particular area, I guess the team PW is looking strong enough, and they might be able to get and dominate quite a few perspectives. On the other corner, we have OPX once again raining down some good bullets and good hell of fire is actually coming up. If I talk about BM, well, Krish and the other members are still surviving, but still the connectivity has not been found for the moment.
Shripaj, Bahundon, Tamang, Lollipop, Kush. Kush was down, but he got revived. But right now, Bahundon, I think he has spotted a couple of players. Kush has come back. Kush has made his way back into the lobby. FDE in the meantime, I think the performance of FDE, that is the freaky dimensions, has been jinxed by maybe us, or it is simply their own gameplay, their own skill set. Because the first game was absolutely phenomenal, and from there the performance graph has constantly been going down. We can clearly see a reverse curve in their performance. OPX is trying to push back. OPS is trying to make a move. OPS is trying to come back stronger, but unfortunately they are constantly becoming the victim of the gunshot from all the other teams, from all the enemies. But we my wishes are with the team PX. I want them to play a better game. The last game, I want them to win because this is really needed.
Performance is actually needed. The kind of carnage is needed at this moment. BG on the other corner is actually getting some good blows in their favor. Two amazing kills is there. Donor was actually donated to the hands of enemy, but right now the safe zone is also shrinking. So they have to actually consider that fact also. You have to pay the respects to the play zone, and along with that, the safe zone is also something you have to actually go with. Circle is something you have to actually obey. NFC on the other corner, in the last one they were declined with that booyah, but I think this one can be critical for them to actually bring back their kind of glory. NFC back and forth is trying their level best to chase the blues, but still they are failing to get the booyah. Let's see what happens in this one.
At this point of time, I would only request every single guy that is watching, if you guys want to participate with and among all your best teams, if you want to participate and win the battle against all these giants, please join our Discord, join the link, follow Lidoma India on Instagram, all the social media handles, and the links are being spammed in the comment section. Click on the links, come and join us in the battle in the next rounds. You will get a chance to fight it out against all these great players. But right now, Vishal and Manis, two players are down. We're down to one last man, Yakuza. Yakuza, what is he up to? He is currently sitting on the top of the tower. That's a watchtower. And he has left the watchtower because he has already realized that his position has already been compromised. Since the opponents, they already know that there's only one man standing, one guy alive, they would want to come in and seal the deal and totally eliminate the team.
Actually, that the enemy is not that strong enough, you will be able to capitalize. You want to actually capitalize on that particular perspective. Let's see if that actually happens, or there is actually going to be some kind of tipsy-turvy turns in this whole situation. We'll be witnessing very, very soon. Well, at the moment, if I talk about PW, Deepu Bot, Levi, Aizen, Superman, all of these giants are just trying to get some good close calls into their perspective, although they are failing to do so because right now only one kill into their consideration. But still, the match has just started. We are going to witness a lot of bloodshed really very soon. Kalahari is not a map you can actually joke around with, but let's see what happens eventually. Booyah is something Legend God might not be worried about because right now he is much more worried about his survival and his teammates' recall.
Legend is the last guy. Vibros, in the meantime, we can see Vibro, Drago, Stalker, Poison, Krishu, four guys alive. And they're moving their way towards, making their way towards the refinery area. This is quite a surprise for me that they did not directly land on the refinery area, because refinery is their own city. As I've said earlier, refinery is the place where the domination of WB starts. Vbros, they like to go to the refinery area, and since refinery area is in the center of the map, almost center, I would say, it is almost in the center of the map, it clearly gives an edge all the teams. If you look at the point standing, current point standing, PW with 80 points sitting on top, that the number one spot. Then we have coming in at the second position, Weeb Rose with 65 points. Then we have coming in at the third position, Moonlight with 63 points. FDE in the fourth spot with 56. B4M making their way at the fifth spot with 47 points. NFL sharing the same number of points, but two less frags. That's why they're at the next place, 47 points each. B4 with 44 points. Then we have BM with 43, TC 38 points, GB with 37. And suddenly, see, after the third match, I believe PX was at the OPX barely had 5 points. Fourth and fifth match were a little bit of game changer. They managed to get their way towards the 20 mark. They've crossed the 20 mark. They were at the bottom. They were the 12th team. Now they are at the 11th position with 27 points. It's okay. They can still try to get their hands at the Booyah in the last final game. And I think if PX gets the Booyah with the somewhere around 10 to 15 frags, not so many, but still 10 to 15 is a good number. If they manage to get their hands at the Booyah with 10 to 15 frags, I think they're going to redeem themselves from all the mistake that they've done in the entire game.
That is actually going to be something amazing to watch out for as well. But at the moment, if I talk about the next fights, well, they are going to pan out really very soon because the play zone is about to shrink once again. The safe zone is not shrinking, and we have got FDs, Maddox. I'm a little bit disappointed from this particular team. Yes, they were able to attain the second position in the previous one. I don't know what happened and how they actually choked out that Booyah, but I just wanted them to just do a little bit more of an effort should have been put from that particular team, and eventually FD could have been able to get that first Booyah into their consideration. No offense to the other team which actually got the Booyah, but then again, competition is something which should be fair and justified.
Yes, OPX, they're trying to justify their performance. They're trying to redeem themselves in this for the day, in this later hour, in this later game. This is the last and final game for the day. 6 matches. Let's see who is going to clearly stand on the top. But as of now, we can clearly see this one team that is sitting in the first position. Then the second and third spot are being shared by the team V-Bros and Moonlight Esports. Towards the end, there's only going to be 3 teams that are going to qualify to the next round, which is very crucial. Fourth spot, you are not make it. So try to get yourself to the top 3 spot no matter what, regardless of the situation. If you do not make it to the top 3, you won't go to the next round, and your dreams of becoming the champion of the Asian continent will go down, and then you'd only be supporting all the other team that have make their way to the next round.
To let's say put up your 110% skills into the consideration, and eventually you have to grind a lot. Even though you are unable to get qualified in this one, first you are actually going to learn quite a few things. But right now, the first thing that actually strikes your mind is actually going to be the qualifications, because we all know only the top 3 teams are going to get considered for the next round. But before that, these players are just trying their best to constantly approach the fights and eventually gain some good points in terms of their gun game. Refinery is the region where the play zone is actually going to hit the mark. Apart from that, we are still having quite a few teams surviving, quite a few players are surviving at this moment, so it will be very interesting to watch out how the gun game is actually going to get calibrated. Which is the team who's going to get that Booyah, the last Booyah for the day, will be something amazing to watch.
Neon Zodex, Maba Fugo, Ridhan. They're already down to 3 men. The 4th guy could not join. That's a bad state. That they are in a bad state right now, because if you already are at the loss of 1 man, it pushes you towards a little bit of disadvantage, because 4 men are really needed. 1 man gets down because of the gameplay right now, because of the aggression that is being showed by the other team. That's all right. It is all part and parcel. But if 1 guy does not even join the game, does not even come in the battle, it already pushes you back. It already demotivates you a bit, because see, it's a team game. All the 4 guys play a vital role. But if your team is already down to 3 men from the very start, it pushes you back to a state from where it becomes hard for you to make a comeback.
few things you have to actually value and eventually calculate as well before actually entering a particular match, and eventually while you're performing as well, you have to consider these few amazing things. Right now, at this moment, if I talk about Legend God and Arjun and Pikachu, this is Team ML, that is Moonlight. Well, they were unable to perform in the previous one, but I guess in this one, I guess they might be focusing on the Booyah coming up. If we talk about Team WB, that is Vibros. Look at that, how beautifully they are still dominant. They are still holding the upper ridges, so they can easily land some good shots to whoever is approaching, who is rotating from the decent areas, from the distant areas to be precise. So that is actually going to be quite an amazing aspect to watch out, that how the connections will be delivered from the corner. We have got WB Drago Gurung. If we talk about Team GB, another beautiful team which I wanted to see having that phenomenal chicken is having Rohan. Ujesh is out of equation, Vipin is there, Bantawa is actually there right now, but let's see how their performance will be calibrated. The only team which is at top is going to be Team Vibros, both in terms of leaderboard as well as in terms of their location in this particular match. Well, yeah, guys, rightly said and done. As you all can see, DE Charlie is trying their level best to attain some good points, but right now Shibo has been taken down. Charlie is there, Mylene is there. Shots coming from these guys' corner is absolutely amazing, but Charlie manages to patch himself because his HP is not looking that strong. As you all can see, a lot of damage has been inflicted on this particular guy, so definitely the survival is actually going to be very, very cutthroat, very, very, let's say, highly infatuating to be at this to be precise at this moment. If I talk about OPX, once again Jangi is there, Setri is there, Beer is there, but Obito gets connected. OPX Obito, who is constantly getting the first frag of the lobby, is now becoming one of those early casualty for the team. But right now Obito gets revived. Obito is back in the game, which is amazing to watch out. Well, Obito is back in the game, so that means OBX Obito is easily going to wreak some havoc in the leaderboard and in the lobby as well. Right now, if I talk about this particular team, Rajan, Neon, Jordex, and Fuego is there. We are missing one good member, but right now, two good members from this particular team are about to go down to the drain. You can see that Rajan and Jordex, both of them have been taken down. Now, the remaining guy that is going to be Mamba Fuego has to survive, has to maintain the legacy and pull through his team and eventually give them a huge momentum booster. Is it going to be a possibility? I really doubt so, because definitely the damages are actually going to get quite cutthroat. Let's talk about Jange, let's talk about Zetri, let's talk about Beat and Obito. These are the four manpower constantly surviving, constantly trying to pull up their socks and eventually attain some good blows into their consideration. Is it going to be a possibility? Hope so. Well, the shots are getting connected. As you all can see, the gun used is going to be on. Some good shots of this particular gun can easily take you down to dust. On the other corner, V-Bros is constantly wreaking havoc in the leaderboard. As you all can see, constantly trying their level best to attain some good points, and I believe they are in the top 6 right now. But is it going to be a possibility for them to get the third booyah for the day and, let's say, allocate a history in making? Some shots are coming up. Well, there we go. Mamba Fuego is not anymore in the lobby. That guy has been taken down. On the other corner, if we talk about PW, they have totally eliminated some good members of Team FD, if I'm not wrong. Let's see what is happening to Team WB, or should I say V-Bros at this moment, because they're also trying their level best to be in the zone. 3 eliminations is what this particular team has as a team. On the other corner, Moonlight, Arjun and Legend God. The 2 members are surviving. They are surviving quite vividly. They are just trying their level best to attain some good points, but finally the connections are about to come in.
Yes. Moonlight Esports, the down to 3 men they are in a good state, I would say. Pikachu, I can see Pikachu is trying to take shots in the far distance, but there was a great launcher. Pikachu gets down, Arjun gets down as well this time. Moonlight does not have the luck that they already had in the entire day. Legend God, he has come on time to save Pikachu. He has become the savior, but this guy, there's an opponent coming from right in front. We are all down to 10 men. We are down in the final circle, in the key circle, in the final battle. Legend God gets down. There's a player who is trying to take shots at the team Moonlight, and there we go. Moonlight gets eliminated in the spot, and I think they have clearly made their way to the top 4 spot at least, and V-Bros is still surviving. V-Bros is still surviving, and OPX, okay, OPX is still there, guys. OPX is still there. I think this is the booyah for OPX. Okay. Oh my God, Raider, what have we witnessed? OPX has actually redeemed themselves from the mistake that they did throughout an entire day. The last game, OPX was clearly in the bottom, and in the last 6th match of the day, in the last day, OPX have made their way to the Booyah. Oh my god, what a dramatic end to a dramatic day.
Oh, indeed. It was quite dramatic the way OPX performed, quite dramatic the way they are actually gaining some good points into their consideration. From first 5 matches, we were failing to see how OPX is coming back. Obito, that guy was constantly trying to recover. He was one of those member like Zoshal as well, who was also trying to survive quite a bit. But finally, if we talk about Obito and his teammates, if I'm not wrong, in the 6th zone, Obito was once again taken down. The revival came in, and after that, the four-man power was also there in the Kalari region. And after that, finally, the way they took over the whole fight was absolutely amazing. Slowly but
Yes.
surely, they were taking apart every single team. V-Bros were there, they denied the fact about that. NFC was there, they denied that team also as well. GM was there, they denied that team as well. A lot of teams tried their level best to attain good position points and eventually attain that booyah, but this particular team was not giving them that, let's say, position, that charming position to just breathe a little and eventually survive. They were constantly wreaking havoc. The way they were holding their position was absolutely amazing. And once again, would like to add on, manpower is something which is always going to be a blessing in disguise.
Actually, OPX kept on trying in the past few games. In the initial 5 matches, 1 to 5, they kept on trying, they kept on pushing hard, but they were miserably failing. I don't know what was
Hmm.
wrong, but
Right.
in the last game, they actually, in the last 2 games, to be honest, in the last 2 games at least, fifth and sixth game, that these 2 games, they did their best. In the fifth game, they got to manage, they did manage to get a couple of points. Earlier, they were barely at 5 points, then they managed to get to the 27-point mark. Then in the last game, I still am wondering how many frags they've secured. But so far, the last game they totally redeemed themselves of all the sins that were made
Hmm.
throughout the day. Clearly, OPX a great team, a great end. I would say the start and the mid path was not very good, but they have finally managed to get to a good end, and everything ends well if the end is well. So we are hoping for a great game ahead of us, for the days to follow, and we are currently waiting for the points table. The report card that we talked about
Yeah, rightly
yesterday,
said.
we are waiting for that.
The report card which is actually going to showcase that what has happened, because there's of course one or two good matches are actually going to be there in your favor, but right now we want to see how much you were consistent. We want to see what actually impacted in the whole leaderboard, and that is something we are going to witness really very soon. We are going to see that how the leaderboard impacted, and in about just 1 or 2 minutes we are going to see that how the leaderboard was impacted. V-Bros with those decent performance, where they are standing, GB where they are standing. If we talk about some other teams like let's say OPX itself, where is that particular team standing? Because if I'm not wrong, we saw OPX is one of those teams which are at the bottom. If I'm not wrong, after the fourth leaderboard, they were at the bottom with only 5 or 6 points into their consideration. But with this booyah, well, the position is definitely not going to be in top five or let's say top three. But yeah, it will be somewhat breathable. It will be somewhat doable for them to do in the next few days.
Yes, indeed, indeed. And this was, see, that was actually a very great day, I would say, as compared to the matches that we saw in the past. This was actually a quite a dramatic match because nobody was expecting OPX to be on the top. But there we go. The results have come out. In the 12th position, we have Bella Gaming with the 29 point. Then we have hashtag 11 Team Conquerors with 47 point. Then we have Gangbang with 47. Actually, Shiripach, Gangbang, Conqueror, all these three teams have 47 points. Nefoli Crew with a 50 points in the 8th spot. Bisho Magar with 51 points in the 7th spot. Then we'll move ahead towards the second page, or I should rather say first page. But so far, these teams have played pretty good. They could not secure a single booyah. Clearly, the top 6 teams are the ones which managed to get the booyah, but there's one team which did not get the booyah, yet they have made their way in the first page of the point standing. Overall standings of Asia Cup Nepal qualifiers is here, and the first page is here. Please, Trader, do the honors.
Well, indeed, with this, you can already see Power Esports is at the top at this moment. With 6 amazing matches, they have attained a total of 101 points. That means this is the only team which is actually touching the triple digit marker. Total points from them is absolutely amazing. V Bros, well, after two good booyahs, the consistency is something which actually lacked from their corner, and they are at the second position with 81 points. Moonlight on the other corner with one booyah with 74 points is residing at third position. Fourth position has been dominated by Freaky Dimension with one booyah and 62 points as well. OpRX, or should I say Team OPX, with the last match into their favor, last booyah of the day into their favor, has actually attained 53 points, and they are in the top 5, which is a beauty. Big for Mercy on the other corner fails to be in the top 5 with has sixth position into the favor into their consideration, and barely making it out to the first page. This team is residing with 53 amazing points. That's an interesting strategy. That's an interesting stats coming from their corner particularly. But right now, I would like to see teams like VBros, teams like Moonlight, Freaky Dimension, so even OpRX or Back for Mercy to be precise, who can easily gain some good points. And I believe that is something which is going to be quite crucial. Let's go back to the risk and let's talk about this whole situation, this whole day, this whole 6 amazing matches quite a bit. Because if we talk about the matches, it started off quite well. Aggression was there. Some way strategies were also there. The match actually turned quite a few tides when Vibro started getting those booyahs. We thought that this team is unable to perform, but out of us a blue, this team was able to get 2 back-to-back booyahs. But after that, situation changed. New teams started to actually take that booyah, and after that, the biggest dramatic turn was teams like OpRX, which were at the bottom, was at the 5th position. This is the kind of incline that we want to see.
Yes, actually, this is the kind of a game that every viewer wants to see. Yes, they are supporting their own team, they are supporting the fan favorites, but at the end, they want to get entertained and they want this sort of an action, they want this sort of a drama where uncertainty, the factor of uncertainty plays a vital role, plays the key role, and it was very critical. Others say to get that win because it was very needed. Earlier, they were at a bad spot, but suddenly, with one single game, they managed to get to the first page, top 5 position. And the next day that they start, they are going to have a good start, I am expecting, because the way they played the last game, it was absolutely phenomenal. At the same time, there are a couple of other teams as well. Top 3 teams for, say, B Bros, then we have Moonlight Esports as well. All the team, they played consistently, and consistency matters a lot. So guys, every single guy that is watching, thank you so much. You've been a great sport, you've been a great audience. This is me, Insane, and I have alongside Raider. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with another day of Nepal qualifiers. Thank you so much.